Welcome to the Real Freedom Podcast with your host, Ryan Weimer. Today, I've got a very, very special guest, Mr. David Paul, the voice of Boise.
Yes, sir.
Former BSU football player, Boise State. Now a highly successful entrepreneur and entertainment savant.
Yeah.
There we go.
I like that.
David's been featured on NBC, Good Morning America, CBS, and is known as the voice of Boise. I'm going to name off some names of people that he's interviewed.
Go ahead.
There's some heavy hitters on this list, man. NFL, NBA athletes, CEOs, Grammy-winning artists.
Mm-hmm.
We even got Mark Cuban,
Mark Cuban,
Charles Barkley,
mm-hmm.
Dirk, Dwayne Wade, Papa Roach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Even the producer of Coldplay.
Yes, Dave Eggar.
Okay. Holy crap, man. I mean, that is an impressive list.
Yeah.
First of all, who gives the best interview?
Probably Cuban.
Yeah?
Cuban or Barkley, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Open, dope, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about him?
Humble.
Yeah?
Humble,
Real?
with their success. But just, sometimes you get that vibe if you're talking to somebody big, when they know they're big, okay, I probably got 2 minutes and then I got to get the hell out of here. But those guys were just like, whatever you need, man. It's just like for that stature to have that, it's freaking cool.
Because Cuban's pretty intense on Shark Tank. So
Yeah, intense on Shark Tank, but his humble beginnings, newspaper salesman, door knocking, entrepreneur, blue collar dude. So
Right.
He's in the gambit every day talking to young entrepreneurs. So young kid like me saying, hey, interview, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That was him years ago. So super cool.
Love that. So on this podcast, the first thing we talk about
Mm-hmm.
is your most beautiful failure.
Beautiful failure.
What do you got?
I saw that when you said that to me because, the ego side would say I had no failures. But no, beautiful failure is before I got started my media company and doing all this stuff, interviews and TV show producing and all that. Got done playing college football. Started a business called Bowtie Hustle.
Okay.
Bowtie Hustle. We were selling logoed licensing ties, to different college teams and whatever. And it was just, I guess the failure of it was misalignment. It wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. I knew that I was supposed to be in the personal branding, the marketing, the media, the hosting on camera, but this was me like ironing
Yeah.
ties and in the back in sweatshops and going to manufacturers.
Right.
And not saying I can't do that because I love style. It did align from a style perspective, but like I said, we had some success, but it was just towards the end, it kind of fizzled out because it was just like misalignment. And the failure of it, I would just say, is that I spent a lot of time in that where I could have just been in the media side early and just been off to the races earlier. And so learning in that process, it was a beautiful failure because all those names you named, I met a person who was a CEO of Reveal Suits who does all the suits for the NFL, NBA, and all that. We were trying to partner with them with their ties. It didn't really align, but we stayed in touch. And when I started doing media, he hit me back up again and said, I see what you're doing with the storytelling stuff. Could you do that for us like a spokesman thing? Now I'm in there with them, Barkely, Mark Cuban. So beautiful failure. The tie company didn't work, but a great connection that's propelled me into those A-list interviews.
Yeah. Man, it's funny how that works, right? As
I
entrepreneurs.
know, man. Dude, I know.
Like every failure, and this is the funny thing about failure too, is like when you're in it, just feels like you're getting kicked in the nuts.
It sucks.
It sucks. And there's no part of you that can see someday I'm going to benefit from this. Like you cannot zoom out.
You can't.
See that, right?
You can't. And it's almost like, that's why it's so key to have people around you like yourself and others around you who see what you see and who are like, hey, dude, keep going, keep flowing, because it's a lot of room at the top.
Yeah.
And people need to understand that, or any peak that you get to, because not many people are taking that path. And so it's room there because not many people are doing it. And so it can be very lonely if you're saying, oh, I have this idea, I'm going to do it. And other people are like, you're nuts. And so you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Or as my football coach at Boise State football would say, enjoy the suck, or Chuck Pagano from the Indianapolis Colts says, so what, now what? Which means, okay, you got hit in the mouth. Cool. So what? Now what do I have to do? And so when you have that mentality, now that is easier said than done. You can say that now with cameras, but when you're in the trenches and something hits, like you really have to be in some, okay, so what, now what? And you have to implement it.
And do you think that your background in athletics is a big reason for that? I mean,
Absolutely.
I hear that coming through in what you're saying.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, you understand, Ryan, when I came to Boise State football, I was a successful high school player, but when I came
Yeah.
to Boise State, I walked on, didn't play that much, was grinding 4 years, was on some good teams, was around NFL stars, but I didn't play. So it was a lot of things of chip on the shoulder, but I'm here for you, but I'm in the behind the scenes. So going through 4.5, 5 years of not playing, but you're still every day working just as hard as them, that's tough. They all travel, they win the game, they come back, you didn't make the bus, but you're saying, but we won. And so having that grit for those years doing that and being through, or as part of the Boise State football program, I was a part of the 2014 Fiesta Bowl team. And so being a part of that winning culture and knowing, hey, bounce back, turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah, so I don't know if you knew this about me, but I played college football too.
That's right.
At D2 Colorado School of Mines.
Mm-hmm.
Similar. I wasn't a walk-on, but I had a walk-on spot at CU.
Oh, wow.
At the same time, it was like, I know that I'm never going to play,
Mm,
right?
Mm-hmm.
I could go to a Mines. I could probably get a better education and also have a chance at playing.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I showed up, though, everyone was way freaking better than me.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was slow, all these things.
Yeah.
So what would you say to an athlete
Mm-hmm.
that is maybe in that situation where they're like, should I walk on?
Mm.
Because when you're a walk-on, there's no guarantee that you're ever going to play. Or
Sure.
maybe when you're walking in and you think, nah, I'm going to make it. I can play by the time I'm a junior or senior. How do you deal with that?
Right.
Like,
That's a
mindset?
great question. I think it's all on who the person is. For me, a little backstory on me. Growing up, I was in the big show Barney as a kid. I did modeling as a kid. I did photo shoots as a kid. I was doing JCPenney ads as a kid. A lot of big ads as a kid. So I was introduced to what I was going to be doing early in my life. Then I got serious in sports, got good at sports, had some D1 offers and D1 AA offers out of high school, got offered by Texas Tech, verbally committed. They pulled it a week before signing day, had nowhere to go. That's how I ended up being a preferred walk-on at Boise State. So that's kind of a backstory.
Holy
But-
crap.
Right. So for me, though, I still was in the mindset to where if I made the NFL, awesome. But I knew I had the gifts in entertainment, entrepreneurship, media, personal branding, coaching, speaking. So the reason I stayed was because, one, I just wanted to be at the high level. I wanted to be around that people. I wanted the blue turf. That was good to me. I was like, I'll compete for it. And I got on the field some, but not as much as I wanted. And my teammates, I was good friends with them. And so I was like, I chose a college to where if I didn't play football, I still want to be in the city. And so that was my story. So for me, I was like, NFL wasn't really a big thing. If it works out, great, but I know what I'm really called to do. If you're somebody who's saying, I want to fucking play, I want to like go to the league, then you need to assess and see what your situation is with that, and
But so many of those players don't have a backup plan, right? People don't realize it's not good enough to just be an elite athlete to make the NFL.
right.
You got to be a pro at injury prevention.
Yes.
Like your availability is your best ability.
Yes.
You got to be in the right place and the right team at
And
the right time.
And that's where I always say, I built my brand to put, with my marketing media company now, we built it and it's going well. But I tell people, like, if you're in the NFL or NBA now, most people think, okay, I can play forever. I got a lot of money. And it's like, dude, like, one, you should be investing your money properly. But number two, bro, you got all the fame right now. You got the money right now. You know the right. If I was a NBA player or NFL dude or on a big stage like that or WWE, I would be leveraging the shit out of all that stuff while I'm in it.
Right.
Because you look at people like The Rock, or you look at people like if it's Jay-Z or Kanye or any of these guys, they were in an industry, but they use that industry to really amplify what they're doing. Where others were just, they wrestled for 20 years, they made good money, and we don't hear of them anymore, which is okay. But The Rock was like, dang, like, I'm doing wrestling, I'm good, but I keep seeing Schwarzenegger in these movies. I keep seeing the deals he's doing. I keep seeing all these deals. I want to do that. The ones who leverage it, they know how to do it. So that's why I'm like, dude, if you're in the league, know how to leverage some things now. You got the whole world at your fingertips.
And now you're really speaking to the personal branding and marketing
Yes.
stuff, right? So you said you always knew that was like your calling and what you really wanted to do.
Mhm.
How did you know what was going to propel you to the next thing or whatever you wanted to do?
I always knew that I had a gift being in front of people on stage. I love jokes, growing up watching Johnny Carson and all these people and Bob Hope. And that was funny to me. I enjoyed that. And so I had a gifted gap with that. The next step was finding out how to make money from it. And so I just would see people. I look at people, if it's, Ryan Seacrest or any of these people who have built, $500 million fortunes off of production, companies, consulting, personal branding, and they have used themselves as an entity to really embed themselves into multiple different communities. Because I would grow up watching Shark Tank all the time, so in a very entrepreneurial household, but at the same time, like people. So bringing those together. So how I knew was just young age, and that's why I always tell people, parents, my parents were parents who said, I could come downstairs and say, I want to do rocket, I want to be in NASA. They say, you could do it. I want to be a barber. Hey, you can do it. And so that was the household. I'm trying this paper idea. Well, you can do it. And so I always tell people, like with your kids, speak life. When you see that gift early, and they're telling mom, hey, mom and dad, sit right here. I'm going to put the camera here. I want you to do this. And I want you to move here. Okay, they have some seeds here that can manifest if you water it. And so my parents are always watering those seeds early. And that's when I knew, okay, by 14, 15, I have a gift with this. My parents are telling me I'm going to flow in this.
Dude, that's rare.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, most parents don't give their children permission to fail. Right? They look at it as a bad thing, or maybe I think a lot of it too is that they didn't go do their dream.
They didn't do it.
Now they hold resentment, and now they want to instill their beliefs or shoulda, coulda, woulda,
right?
And they want to steer you now to mold what they weren't,
right?
Instead of just giving you the freedom of go fail and figure it out.
Totally,
do it yourself.
Totally, and I think to add on that, people have to be okay with being different. You have to be okay with being an anomaly, because that's where the successful people lie, man. It's the people who are a weird niche and then they create something. You have a guy who can do programming, he can do computer science, he's an entrepreneur, and he likes electric cars. You put that together, you make Elon Musk, right? Different people have different recipes. You cook it and it's right. And so that quote says, Jack of all trades, master of none. We all know that quote. But the back end of that quote says, but better than a master of one. And they're talking about Shakespeare, a dude who has all these things. He's doing the plays. He's doing that's what that quote's based on. But we've never finished it, of saying it's better than somebody who's only doing one thing. It's somebody who's putting themselves out there. And so you got to be okay with taking a step of faith.
Yeah. So we met 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that don't know, David does a majority of our content whenever I'm here in Boise in person, and David and his team do all of our content and marketing and everything, and we're looking to expand that. When we first met, you did tell me your vision was to be the Ryan Seacrest of Boise.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm curious, because I think it's really impressive what you've done of recognizing you might have some advantage in starting in a niche, right? You're not trying to be the next Ryan Seacrest.
Right.
You're just trying to be the next Ryan Seacrest, or Ryan Seacrest of Boise.
Yeah. And with that, for me, the ultimate goal is, Hollywood level,
right?
High level stuff. And we produce network TV shows with ABC and Prime Video now and CW. So we're doing that now and we're expanding out. So that's the ultimate goal. But what I had to do first, when I told you, was a couple years back, as you were like, what's the goal? I was like, well, I need to water my backyard.
Yes.
Where I'm at, because see, I've had all those interviews you heard, Barkely, Dirk, Cuban, Papa Roach, all these Grammy-winning people. They have come to me because I'm in my alignment. Now, if I were to go to LA, go to New York, or go to Dallas, I will be in those bigger cities. That's the goal. The high-level Netflix, all that, that's where I'm going. That's my trajectory. It's already happening now. But that would not have been in position if I didn't rest in an alignment of where I'm supposed to be. And so I could have left after college and say, I'm going to go to LA like everybody else.
Right.
I'm going to go to New York like everybody else, or Dallas like everybody else. And then I'm going to be in a traffic of all doing the same shit, where I could just, God's calling me to be here. All right, cool. So I'm not going to complain. Or why? I know we're in Idaho, Boise. Ain't entertainment up here. Tumbleweeds going, whatever, right? How do you do that in Idaho, right? So, but you know what? Hey, I'm going to make it. Me and God are going to make it happen. And guess what? Start doing that. You water your backyard. You take care of your community. You do it with all your might and all what you put into. And guess what? You start getting that back and things start reaping. And then now all of a sudden you build it. And then guess what happens? LA's calling. New York's calling. And then you can say, I think I'm going to go to New York. I think I'm going to move to Dallas,
So what you're telling me is somebody that's looking to start their own personal brand,
Mm-hmm.
brick by brick.
brick by brick. And first of all, find your alignment. And with your personal brand, what are you giving to people with this brand? You know, what are you servicing them? For me, my personal brand was telling people's story. Everybody has a story to tell. So there's a lot of people that want to get themselves out there to tell their story. So I helped that. So having a servant leadership mentality, I always say, if you're having a lack, if you're not able to find new opportunities, you're not serving enough. You know, you got to put yourself in positions on how I can help and all that. And so from personal branding, put yourself out there, take a step of faith, you know, brick by brick, right alignment, divine alignment, and knowing where you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, from a personal brand standpoint, I always ask people, okay, so where do you see yourself in 10 years? Okay, is it on the Oscar stage, producing high-level TV shows? Is it a massive coaching company? And then work backwards. Because whenever I get in a conversation with people, I just say, okay, cool. So if everything worked out awesome in a decade, who would that guy be or who would that girl be? And when they say that, like, probably like Fashion New York, I go, okay, well, that's your calling. Like, that's what's pulling you. Now go towards that.
So really what you're speaking to here is authenticity, right? Because when you stack brick by brick and you start in your niche and in your backyard, like you're just being you.
Yes.
You're not being something bigger, somebody greater. And in our space, we see this all the time with social media gurus, people that are posting content that is totally outside of their lane.
Yes.
They don't even have direct experience themselves. They're just like making it up as they go. And this is the problem too that I want to get your take on. The problem with that is it leads to people being gun shy or being scared and afraid to tell their story.
That's so
to
good.
Start personal branding, right? Because there's all these other flashy people doing way more than me. Nobody's even going to care about little old me in Boise.
Right.
So talk to me as you're starting this and you're in Boise. Talk to me about the naysayers, like the self-doubt, or maybe people that were like, who is this guy in Boise?
Right. And I think you just said, I think what we have to realize is that everybody's created uniquely in their own way. You know, with singers, man, we got Billy Joel and we got Elton John. You got Ed Milet and you got Tony Robbins, right? And so some people might think, well, I'm not John Maxwell, but okay, that's cool, but he's not you. He's not your own thing. And so from a personal brand standpoint, it's you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But also, I just think you have to just kind of be in a flow to where it's like, I'm just focused on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to judge somebody's chapter 6 to my chapter 1 right now. I'm just going to stay in my alignment. And with Boise, I knew, hey, I want to go to LA right now. I'm going to stay in my alignment. I'm going to stay in my patience. I'm going to stay in my flow. And it's a mistake I see a lot of times with people when they have a coach or whatever, and that coach says, you do this, you do your 4 things. And the guy has an alignment in real estate, but his coach is telling him you should be doing tech. And then he drops everything and he starts doing that because somebody's telling him, but you know, his spirit inside is saying, I know real estate's there. You need to stay in that alignment. And so sometimes people are taking steps of faith in the wrong area when really it's like, forget the noise, forget all that. I tell some people, you just need to get quiet, get off of social media and really find out who you're supposed to be. And once that sets in, then you flow into that and then things will go. Then you talk about the naysayers. There's always going to be a lot of people that's going to try to get you out to your divine will. It's going to be a lot of people with that. And that's going to be tough. But that's why you don't really hear much of that if you start getting around other people who think like you. Now, keep hearing that, then you might be in the wrong group because you're starting to grow. Because you'll really know the people. I think I forgot the interview I was watching today, but you'll really know the people who are really for you. If you send a voicemail out and said, hey guys, I'm kind of taking things to the next level. You send it to your whole contact list. I'm kind of taking things to the next level. If you need to get in touch with me, contact me here. Big things are moving, whatever. If you have people hitting you back saying, where are you trying to go? Or where would you even go? Those are the people that are like, hey man, I love you, but I can't hang out with you. But the people who are saying, love it, brother. Keep going. Let's go. I'm here. Let me know the new email. They're rocking with it.
Yep.
But you're going to have the people saying, what do you mean, bro? You don't even. Okay, well, I got to remove myself.
Yeah. And should is a dangerous word, right? From coaches or people that are in position of trust. Maybe it's your family. I see that a lot, right? Like your immediate inner circle, usually when you're in college, you're just going to college, was your family and maybe some of your high school friends. It was a forced environment. And so now you're going to college, you're starting to figure out who you are, and you're developing your personal brand and maybe you don't even know what you want to do. But up until then, your environment's been forced. Now
It's
all of a
been
sudden,
forced.
yeah, now all of a sudden you have to create your own. And to your point, if you're not careful, you're going to get around a lot of people that are like, you should do stuff instead of, dude, go be you. Let me
Totally.
support you. Let me know what's next.
And that's where I love with your content and it's you. It's what you want to do. And it's in a vein to where people need to really understand. I tell agents all the time, I'm coaching and doing personal branding coaching for agents and other clients. What do you like to do? Do you go to book clubs? Do you like sports? Do you like interviewing community leaders? Do you like politics? Do you like restaurants? Whatever those things are, start implementing that into your brand. See, somebody else could be in your industry, but instead of them doing your content, they could be saying, I'm featuring the 10 best restaurants this week. Now that's their brand. So now they're going out and in the midst of them highlighting a new steak dish, they're talking real estate. Now, you're doing it one way, she's doing another, but that's their brand. That's personal branding. Now, it would be a disservice for her to get in front of a podcast mic and say, stop what you're doing right now and tell me the 3 ways you want to make $50K in a month. Now, not saying that's a bad way. That could be somebody's brand. But for her, that might not be for her. She might want to say, I want to walk through the thing. I want to do some fashion stuff. Yeah. Let her do that. And like you said, the should is a hard word because I've seen countless people say, I'm doing this now. It's like, whoa, brother, what happened to this? So
how did you have the way that you're speaking about this tells me that you have a long view. And it's such a unique quality in an entrepreneur to always be taking the long view of things. That is so much easier said than done.
It is.
Like I was an engineer, so I didn't know jack shit about branding and marketing and the importance of it. Like everything was like math based to me. And so branding and marketing was like a difficult thing for me to quantify. It's like, how do I know that I'm making progress? So I'm posting videos or maybe I'm starting something for myself. When you were getting started on this journey, like what were some of your monthly goals or targets, or how did you know that you were really progressing?
Great question. I think it goes back to what I said is how you're progressing is when you have that, you say the long view, when you know that 10-year thing, when you clearly know, I want to be the biggest lifestyle real estate expert in Manhattan. When you know that, then you can, okay, well, this month, let's feature an aquarium and let's feature a new fried food place.
Right.
That's a good jump. We got a good step. If you want to be somebody who says, I want to bring fashion to the industry of tech. Okay. So when I knew, okay, this community is missing a lot of high quality level video content. They're missing storytelling. They're missing interviewing the top Eagles here. I'm going to do that, and it's going to attract more attention to me so I can get to where I want to go. So my monthly things was like when I first started my talk show 2 years ago, these things I'm doing was not the moves I'm making is not to be here forever. Right. The moves I'm making is to where I want to go. And so when I started my talk show, I was like, I need to get the biggest people on here. I need to get Tommy Alquist. I need to get all these people who are moving. So when they say, I need to get Papa Roach, when they see it, they're going to say, how's this guy know these people? He wins, we win, we on. That was a goal. So I knew each month, if I can continue to align myself with whatever, then everybody wins. And so some people like to align themselves with 1%ers or whatever like that, but it's not genuine. Mine was genuine. It's authentic. I really want to learn. I really like being around it. I come on the show. Can we do business together? When it's genuine like that and people see that, you attract more eagles. You attract more people in your pack. And so in any industry you're in, this model works from personal branding. You can be in cooking. You can be in construction. You can be laying tables, whatever it is. If you add your vibe to it and you're consistent with it and you have an end-all goal with it and you're posting, you all of a sudden become the main person in that industry. For example, I know a skin doctor. He has a massive brand out here all over TikTok. He's a really good skin doctor. Is he the best skin doctor in the nation? I don't know, probably not. But guess what? He's always showing up. He's doing funny videos. He's the one getting flown out to the red carpets. He's on boards. But he's found his way. And people are finding education now. Now, there might be somebody who's in wherever else, California, ever, who's a really good skin doctor, probably better than this guy, and they're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
But this guy, he's finding his way. He's putting it out there step by step, brick by brick, and before you know it, and it's hard to quantify our ROI on that.
Right.
Because some people say, brand awareness. I've heard that before. So you want to come in here, you want to do shows, you want to do this, you want to do that. So how am I getting my lead? You know, and that is a form of marketing. You pay a certain amount of money, you get your lead back. We do SEO. We've done that before.
Yep.
But what I'm talking about here is the long game, brand awareness, to where my friend told me, dude, you were spokesman for this jewelry company. He said, dude, I was driving in the car with my wife, and I saw your thing on social media. I made a U-turn and bought a $10,000 watch. Now, you can't track that ROI. Now, they probably pay me amount per month, and they say, give me your ROI, what you got.
Yeah.
But what about the people who saw it? Oh, I saw that Weimer guy. Okay, you know, in 3 or 4 weeks, I got to hit him up about something. Okay, good. That's how it happens.
Dude, 100%. 100%.
You know?
Like, I go to a meetup, and they're like, yeah, I saw you meeting with D-Mac, with David Paul. And I'm like, oh, awesome. Right?
Yeah.
And now we're having a conversation. That could be a future private money lender. That could be somebody we buy a property from. That's somebody that we maybe partner with. Maybe that's somebody that buys coaching from us later.
Literally.
And I think it's such a hard thing if you're getting started to balance the short and long game, right? Because like the short game pays the bills, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that really does start with living below your means, because the name of the game, man, is to play as much of the long game as possible.
That's good,
is
right?
The long game, man. Like the long game gets you leverage and multiples beyond your wildest dreams, right? And give before you ask.
That's so good,
man. If you're spending what you're making, you're always going to be in a position where you have to go for that ask before you've led with value.
Right. Oh, that's good.
And then people are like, okay, you've made your ask. Let's do business. There's no future. Now you have to upsell.
Right.
If you want to get into the upper tiers or a higher ticket item or whatever it is, right?
Totally.
If you're giving throughout that entire process, you can wait for that ask until it's the high ticket item. The longer you can delay it, the more money you'll make.
That was bars. That was straight bars.
Dude,
Mic drop.
I learned this from you, right? Because like it's my first lesson about marketing was it's not about being the best. It's about being the best known.
That is the main key. And it's like what you just said, like I'm still flowing through my mind in that because that was so good. But I guess how I want to say this, like you said, it's not being the best, but it's being the best known. And for years, I'm always doing coffee meetings. I'm always connecting, right?
Yeah.
I think my one superpower, of course, I can perform, I can do impersonations, I can do all that stuff and host and bring energy. But my superpower is relationships and it's networking, which means when I do my own events, you know, I work with other brokerages to where they value my relationships. When I come on, they're getting my network. And so because my network is built on integrity, I trust them, they trust me, and I can move connections for certain things. But it's been the last handful of years of just connecting, however I can help. And some you didn't see the fruits then, but as you keep flowing in that. But here's the one key, though, and you know this too, because you got out of engineering, you got to what you're doing now, and it was a process, but you're still crushing it. It was results happening pretty quickly.
For sure.
And so what people need to understand is that I'm not saying you have to wait 20 years, because in this relationship and growing your brand, when you connect with the other Eagles, things can scale faster through divine relationships. That's where you need to start thinking of divine relationship making, right? Of picking out who you want to be around. Because as one of my mentors said, there's some neighborhoods where 10 million is a lot of money. There's some neighborhoods where 10 million is not that much money. What neighborhood are you in? And so it's those networks to where you can be growing your personal brand and aligning properly with the people that you see yourself going to, with the people you want to go to and the future you want to go with. And all of a sudden, you've been doing it for 6 months, 3 months, and you get a deal that you thought was going to take 3 years happens now. Yeah. That's what happened with the reveal shoestrings and all that. It's like the interviews I've gotten, people have to wait 8 months to get. I got that just through a relationship.
Yeah.
And so That's the exciting thing about we're talking about process brick by brick. It is a thing you're going to learn. But at the same time, if you're aligning correctly and learning and have likability and you're trustworthy and have integrity, there is lots of room for accelerated promotion that can happen within your relationships.
Yeah, I love that. And you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with,
Facts.
right? It's like, it is, for people that are struggling, often it's the environment that they're in is like their first piece that they might need to physically move, right? Like maybe they need to go to a different area or whatever just to be that version of themselves, that new version, that new evolution, and start fresh. So I think your physical environment is just as important as your emotional environment and your support system.
That's right.
And I'm curious if, let's say somebody's starting out creating content, right? They haven't done anything, okay? Everybody has something of value to give, whether you're a cook, whether you clean, whether you are an engineer, whether you're like in high school doing something. The number one thing that I hear about people is they're afraid to post because it's not good enough. And so I want to get your take on content, specifically quality versus quantity.
It's a good question. I heard a guy, I was hosting an event, and the keynote there, he's a coaching guy. He said, I think he has like a net 8-figure income. And he said he doesn't use any video production, any of that. He's like one of those military guys. I don't know, I do it myself type thing. But he said something I'll never forget. He said, my shitty content is kicking your business's ass. And it hit me deep by saying, basically his point was, I'm posting every day. I'm putting my phone up. I'm putting whatever I need to put up, and I'm selling my course.
Yep.
And I'm not really caring. So what people need to understand is, to answer your question, at the beginning, it's quantity first, dude. And we both know this. It's like, at the end of the day, you're just trying to get a thing out there. If you can find a way, you're a chef, and you got to get a quick 10-second thing on your phone with Wolfgang Puck because he's in the passing, but it's a little blurry. Put it up. Put it up, because it's the beginning. People just need to see the association. Then as we grow, then we can get into the quality aspect and all that. But at the beginning, to answer your question, it's quantity, dude. Get the thing up there and start simple. If you are somebody that wants to start getting yourself out there and you don't know what to say or whatever, well, start with saying some things that you enjoy talking about. That's why I told my wife. She got network marketing. She was a chemistry major. She didn't like talking in front of people, but she is a good conversationalist. So I started saying, well, start talking about your experience in chemistry.
Yeah.
You can talk about chemistry all day.
Exactly.
And so same thing with people. If you're starting on camera, I don't know what to talk about, man. I don't like doing. Well, what do you enjoy doing? Well, I love to bake. Well, you know what? Give us a behind the scenes of what you're doing with the kids tonight. What are you baking, right? Because you're going to know what to say on that. And so that will start the flow. And last quick story, an agent had that same problem that we're talking about. We were in San Diego. I was doing an event there. Our production team was producing an event there. He said, I don't know how I'm going to do this with the consistent and the whatever. I was like, hey, bro, just start. Long story short, he said, I'm just going to do, this amount of days straight, whatever, posting it. And he's seen great returns because he just didn't care. I'm posting on the phone. What's going to flow? And he's seen the returns.
100%. And you can't get better quality without quantity.
Yes.
First, right? The quantity is what delivers the quality because you get better, right?
Thank you.
You can't just sit there, have analysis paralysis and say, I'm never going to make a post because it's never good enough. You have to be willing to throw yourself out there, get feedback from the platforms. I'm not necessarily saying listen to troll comments and people that are trying to tear you down. But, these apps will tell you, is your content valuable or is it not? And if it's not valuable, it'll tell you by the number of views and interactions that you get. And even if it's saying that, you don't know who's watching it.
You don't.
Like somebody pulls up your profile and looks at a post that you made 3 months ago, and they're like, dang, Ryan, you did that deal, and you talked about how nervous you were as a cold caller when you were an engineer and shaking and stuttering and sweating and all this stuff. And it gave me the courage. I'm an engineer too, to make my first cold call, and I just got my first deal. And I'm like, dude,
that's what I love
the power
about your content. And it is just how open it is. I think that is so helpful because so many people within your industry, they want to get into it, but it's so many nuts and bolts and weeds and different things that people don't know, and they want to take a step. And so I bet it's so refreshing for somebody just to say, hey, dude, like we came in here, this is what the deal was at. This guy didn't respond to us for 4 weeks. oh man, I'm going through the same thing. That is unfolding things and unpacking things is a way of content that I haven't really seen a lot. And so that's what I love about what you're doing with that.
Well, there's a reason, guys, why I reached out to David Paul to do our content. So if you don't know where to start, reach out to him. What's the best way to reach out to you?
My Instagram is DMAC_1. So that's DMAC_1, or my website, www.dmacenterprises.com. DMACenterprises.com.
Usually we do that at the end of the show, but the reason I want to do it now is because I didn't know what the hell I was doing in content, right? But I knew I got referred to David. David knows. David does marketing and personal branding. I don't need to know. You know, the first time we showed up on site together at a property, I'm standing there and I'm like, this is Ryan. I'm at 123 Brooklawn Way, and this is our property. And you're like, okay, how about you say this instead and like give a hook? And I'm like, what's a hook? I don't know what a hook is.
Right.
Okay, a hook is just something you say at the beginning of the video to get people's interest so that they watch the rest of what you have to say.
To bring them in.
Right. And so my point is, guys, you can know nothing. That's what David is here for.
Yeah, and to add to that, I was doing a coaching class the other day with some agents, and I was saying, in your content, always start with the best first. You know, I do that in even my emails. If I'm talking to new people, I'll put in the subject line, ABC, Barkely, Cuban. Okay. And even in content, it's like I tell people, if you have an open house and the mayor of the city stops by your open house, in the first 15 seconds of the video, I don't need to hear, well, the weather was nice. By the way, I took my kids. We had great food. Also, too, by the way, this market is crazy. In any event, the mayor came through. No. It needs to say right away, hey, guys, open house, 5,000 square foot home, and guess what? The mayor is here. Whoa. That's a whole nother form of content. And so when people starting with the best first, I even work this way with questions or with content and all that. But thing with Charles Barkley, I can have a 9-minute interview with Barkley. But if the best part of the interview was the last minute, I'm posting the last minute first.
Yes.
We'll get to the other stuff later. Because in Instagram, people are swiping, they're moving. And that's another thing to think about marketing from social media perspective. People watch your videos, but at the same time, they may be watching 20 seconds of the videos. What are you putting in that time frame? One. Number two, what marketing lens are you putting over your content that's attracting them to where even if they don't watch it, they still know? What makes your content transcendent to where I haven't watched David's stuff for a while, but I know it's something going on with NBA, NFL. I know it's something going on with NBC. I think it was some show he did. I know Ryan, he does the investing, the real estate stuff, right? It makes it transcendent above.
Yes.
And some people, they overcomplicate it. Oh, I don't want what I'm going to say, what I'm going to wear. Dude, just post it and put that beginning with a pop. And before you know it, if you're featuring all the sports places in the Treasure Valley, people start saying, oh, yeah, you're that Treasure Valley sport guy, right? You're in.
Yeah.
You're subconsciously in.
Guys, you just got millions of dollars worth of content advice. I can tell you. Dude, okay, here's a great example.
I'll invoice you guys.
Here's a great example of that. So 6 months ago, we started doing a brand new strategy that we've never done before in creative finance with real estate. And it's where we're negotiating a seller finance deal at 0% interest. Okay? Which is hard in and of itself. Like, it takes years of experience to do that. But we can secure that note against another property, like our rental or something else. And then we can sell that property as a flip and get all that money up front. So think about it. Think about if somebody owns a property, it's like $300,000, and we negotiate $200,000 0% seller interest note. Okay, so we have $200,000 owed, just like if we were going to a Chase or Wells Fargo or whatever. And instead of that $200,000 note against that particular property, we can negotiate with the owner and say, hey, at closing, put that 200 against one of my fourplex down the street. And so we'll keep the payments to you and everything. But now I can sell this and not have to pay off the 200. Right? Now I'm going to get the 200 when I sell it off because it's still against the fourplex, right? I still have the payments to him.
Most definitely.
And now I just created $200,000 of a line of credit cash to me at 0% interest in my bank account.
Mm.
And dude, I posted a video about this and it got like 4 views.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I don't see anybody talking about this is going to change the game. Like, I don't see anybody talking about this. This could $200,000 at 0% interest. Dude, that could be life-changing.
Nuts.
Just
Yeah.
one deal, right? And it's all because I didn't start with the best.
Wow.
And even in, and this is a real-time example, even in that story that I just told you, I didn't start with the best. I should have started this with, let me tell you how to get $200,000 in your bank account at 0% interest cash.
Boom, right out the gate.
Right? See, and even when we're doing this right now in a podcast, I didn't do that because it takes practice, guys.
It takes practice,
point,
dude.
man.
It takes practice.
So that's the thing is it's like,
what a
start with your
story,
best.
dude.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I even have a friend. He keeps me on top of, like, I'll send my content. He's really good in content. He's like the face of Kansas City, does media stuff down there. And he's really good in content. Like, I'll even send my stuff to him. And he'll be like, because I posted content still to this day. I start with the best first, but there's times where I'm like, that could have been a little bit earlier. Like, I maybe lost some people there. And, because, dude, I mean, the IGTV days were fun. Where you could post a 12-minute video, people will watch the whole thing. Life was great. Life is still good now. It's just a little bit quicker now. And so socially, with social media, it's like with whatever you're doing, starting with dude, I even start with the best on text now.
There you go.
I've even transformed my mind, or even with text, like I'm trying to get in touch with somebody. Hey, Channel 6 this Sunday. Can you do it? Okay. That separates me from all other texts.
Totally.
Because people are moving so fast now,
Yeah.
People are not as patient anymore, And so you have to just find ways and starting with the best.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think too, like the reason TikTok is so popular, it's
Mhm.
it's the dopamine hits.
Dopamine hits.
Fast, right? Short
Mhm.
attention span.
Mhm.
And so instead of fighting that,
Mm-hmm.
if you just start with the best, like people will get interested
Mhm.
and they will visit your channel and they can go to your different outlets and they can get deeper within your content if they so choose.
If they choose.
But you're not even going to give yourself the chance if you don't have that attention grabber.
Exactly. And the good thing about maybe a lot of listeners here in your industry, Ryan, is that is content that people will sit down and listen. Because if you start with the best in your industry, this is how I did that, people will take out 4 or 5 minutes and say, okay, how did he do this?
Yeah.
How did he make this type of money? Or how did he do this deal? In my industry, I have to get right to the punch unless I have a massive celebrity there. Celebrity, okay, The Rock can do a 2-hour podcast.
Of course.
Because he's The Rock. People are going to watch the whole thing. So Mark Cuban's here. Okay, cool. I can maybe play around with that because people are going to want to see Mark Cuban. But there's other things to where, like I posted last night. It was an interview I did a year and a half ago. It was with the producer of Coldplay. It was a lot of good information he said, but he produced Viva La Vida. I used to rule the world. That song, huge song. He produced that. So I just had to post that. I don't think the viewers really care about, he played cello for 12 years as a kid and he loved Mozart when he grew up. It's like, I had to get to that.
Yeah.
Because they might not know the guy. They know what he did. So, yeah.
Yeah. How about, let's talk about the different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
David, I only got so much time in the day. Maybe I got a full-time job. Maybe I got a wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got Instagram. I got TikTok. I got Reddit. I got YouTube. I got my website. I'm forgetting other ones. I got Facebook. If there's a platform that I should pick above all others, should I just pick one? Or maybe there's a strategy to creating one piece of content that I could easily post across all platforms. What's your advice?
The 2 platforms just to start on, Instagram and Facebook. In my opinion, those are like the foundation, man, because Facebook, you got all your mom and parents' friends, and they watch, which also, I've gotten a lot of things from Facebook because you got to start posting on that.
Yeah.
All ages are on that. And Instagram. Instagram, I just like the format of it. If you're starting out, start with Instagram and Facebook. Then as you grow, I hear, YouTube is awesome too. But if you want to start making money off of YouTube, you need to make sure you're consistent. Some people just think they can just have 1 million subscribers come out of thin air. And they have no idea that these people who have 400,000 subscribers have been at this shit for 4 years, building and building and building and building. So Start on Instagram and Facebook. You're consistent. Put those on YouTube. I'm not really a YouTube person, but I do have a channel, but I'm not on it that much. But if you do want to do YouTube, make sure you're consistent. Always posting things on there so your viewers and subscribers raise. TikTok. I think TikTok's great. I post on TikTok. If you can't just post one video and think it's going to get 4 million views.
Yeah.
But it has that ability to. So TikTok is a weird deal. It's like you can post on there. You do have to be somewhat consistent for a minute, but then you can post on there and all of a sudden one could gigantic. And then once you hit that one, all of a sudden, oh, damn, I got 200,000 likes and I have 40,000 followers. So TikTok is like consistent over a span of months and then huge success. Instagram and Facebook, the great foundations. YouTube, you want to start making money on there, you got to be on it. You got to be serious and dedicated. And then also for me, when I post my stuff, dude, I post on everything.
Okay.
LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. That way I'm hitting all demographics. I'm hitting my millennial friends, my dad's friends on Facebook, to my network business buddies who are over 50 on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
To where now all markets are, I sit on 2 boards out here, Special Olympics Idaho and Boise Philharmonic. Okay. They're seeing it on LinkedIn. They might not see it on Instagram. So that's what I do. I just post it on everything.
Yeah.
So everybody knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Right
on. Well, take me now to your vision for yourself and this branding journey, right?
Yeah.
Because you got Reveal Suits are taking the next step of interviewing some really high power celebrities. Where's this thing headed?
It's 3 pillars right now. It's, media marketing company, servicing people, clients, video production, social media management, SEO, etc. That's one. Second pillar is TV show producing. We've gotten to that, doing TV shows here. And then third is just me. That's David, the host, David, the spokesman, David interviewing the people. So ultimate goal remains the same. It's being the people who I've always watched. I know it's already happening now, and I'll be that and bigger. But yeah, Seacrest, the Steve Harveys, any of those people at that level who are high-level host people, personalities who have turned it into a brand. I look up to a lot of those, major moguls in the entertainment entrepreneurship industry. So that's the ultimate goal, just doing what I'm doing now, but at the highest level to where you say, oh, David Paul just landed a, $8 million deal or $5 million deal with Disney Plus or $10 million, whatever that may be. Now I'm here. Now everything else rises too.
Yeah.
So that's just the ultimate goal. And so other goals I have, hey, I want to host big award shows one day. I want to host things on Netflix one day. I want to, Grammys, Oscars, any of that stuff. Hollywood that's the thing. But I know that what I'm doing now has attracted that. That's the thing. I had to do that first.
Yeah.
And it's just so many other ways to success. I mean, I could have gone out there and waited tables like everybody else did and then try to audition. But, you can go another way. Like, Tyler Perry went another way. All these people went different ways. And you got to go your path. And if you go your path, it works.
Yeah. I'm curious, what makes a good interviewer? And would your wife say that you're a good listener?
Ooh, sometimes, depending if she's speaking, rubbish or, no, I'm kidding. What makes a good interviewer? A servant, and being a servant leader. And when you're around somebody who has great fame or whatever, there's not really time for you to talk. I've always had great interviews with these people because I just say, hey, man, so how did you do it? And I don't care how big or how celebrity they are, they like talking about themselves of how they did it. And so any great interviewer is somebody who lets the person flow. Like right now, if I had Kevin Hart in here, and I'm a humorous guy too, I know how to interview him because he's a comedian. I'm not going to interrupt his comedic flow. I'm going to prompt him with a couple things, throw a lob, and I'm just going to let Kevin go and come in as I flow in. And so you have to be a servant. The interviews I hate watching is the people to where it's like, damn, man, I was just want to hear what Seinfeld was going to say, and the dude jumps in. Let Seinfeld go, let Eddie Murphy go. And when to jump in, whatever. They'll tell you. They're professionals. They know. But that is the key. Being the servant, just let them go. And when they get done talking, then you talk.
Yeah, and we talked about this offset to this in-person format for podcasting and in-person interviews.
Oh, yeah.
Like the body language, right? And the natural conversation nature of it versus doing that virtually. I think virtually is a lot harder. Virtually, I've noticed my guests are a little bit more nervous. Maybe they stutter a little bit more. They say a little bit more. It's not like a free-flowing conversation. And there's something about being in person that you get that natural human chemistry where you can read off of somebody else, and it makes it easier.
I agree. Yeah, the virtual is definitely tough. Like you said, it's like people are uptight. What camera's on me? Am I looking at him or is he looking down at this? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, like with anybody who sometimes maybe gets nervous, I'm going to release like a ebook or course just like off of public speaking, because the number one fear over death is public speaking.
No way.
Yeah, it's over death. And so because people can get up there, they don't know what the hell to say. And so I have things on that of just like, if I get nervous, how do I calm the nerves? You know, my first and only advice I always say is just, hey, just if you're interviewing somebody, it's when you're like, we had an agent yesterday. We're doing a thing for TV show. She'd never been on TV. I said that. She was like, oh my God, 500,000 viewers every week. She was like, oh
No
my
pressure.
God. No pressure. Yeah. She was like, oh shit. You know, I was like, hey, you got your questions. Say the question and let the person do the talking. You don't have to be Jimmy Fallon tonight. So tell me about this place. How long you had it? You're out. Let him go, you know? And then before you know it, 4 minutes goes by and we say cut and we're on. So yeah.
What's something about TV shows and interviewing for TV specifically that not many people know about?
You know, TV, it depends on the segment stuff you have. You know, you have to deal with the different angles. It's more time. You know, social media, it's very, very quick. And you can be quick on TV too, but TV's more of, you know, we got time. We got patience. We can flow into something. It's a little bit more space. I still like bringing social media aspects into it to make it pop. But yeah, it's, you know, you got that. And then it's just a lot more details when it comes to social media. It's just like, we got it. Send a Dropbox. We're in. Google Drive. You know, this is like, so what did you edit in? Are you singing in this format? Did you save it on your phone? What mics are we mixing the audio? Because you can save it here and then you put it on TV and it looks like shit. And you're like, oh my God. So I've had those things where like, hey bro, this is not a LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
You know, this is like on TV. So that's the difference. Yeah.
Okay. What type of content do you see working well in Boise right now, specific to Boise?
You know, as a whole, what's crazy is 3 years ago when I started doing content level things here, I was doing like $1 million listings, HGTV style walkthroughs. Nobody was really doing it. Now a lot of people are doing. I mean, everybody's doing it. So, I mean, I've seen the content that's really Instagram as a whole. The content that works best is that talking head stuff, man. Like the podcast, you have the mic, cameras here, and they're saying how they made $120,000 in 60 days type things. And I'm just not saying you have to do that, but that type of thing does work. And if it's a lot of your content style, like that stuff does well now, where it's like people on Instagram now, it's heavy on information, you know, and so it's an information platform. So anybody that is talking information, giving advice on how they did this deal and you can be a part of it, Instagram is going to support that. So yeah, like if I did like a 40-second clip of just like this camera on me close up and I'm talking about surrendering and sacrifice and compassion, that'll get like 6,000 views because people are seeing the subtitles. It is clear. So
Yeah.
I would say that.
Okay. What? Because I know there's an added benefit of being like a connector, right? Is you get exposed to so many industries.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's kind of a cool benefit that you just get to talk to high level people in such a variety of different avenues?
Yes.
That's got to be a cool thing.
Yeah. The pro of it is learning and hearing so much. Your ear to the ground to a lot of different things. It's awesome to know. The con of it is sometimes you hear stuff that's so good that you're like, man, should I be doing what I'm doing?
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Because like, how do you keep focus?
That's where it gets tough. Honestly, prayer, dude, faith, and it's staying focused on that. Faith is huge for me and keeping God first. And so it's just like, sometimes I hear that, I'm like, man, that is juicy. I really like, but you know, it's the same thing on one of my spiritual mentors said, when you're flying a plane and you're up in high altitudes, you can sometimes pilots or people doing the plane can get vertigo. And the vertigo makes you feel we're going way right when really you're just going straight. And so how to get back on track is you just keep your eyes on that dialer wherever that thing is. So no matter how you're feeling, you're just kind of on that. And once you focus on that for a little bit, the vertigo goes and you're back on track. And so for me, it's just knowing the main thing. Hey, I know I'm going to be in these industries one day. I know I'm going to do it. Things are already kind of happening within it. I'm flowing that. If I need to make that jump, God will tell me. But right now, I hear that. That's awesome. But I just got to keep going in this because I'm not going to jump ship right now and go into a whole nother career.
Yeah.
Because it's got me here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's, as somebody that's on the fence that wants to, maybe they're thinking about starting their own personal branding or they have never posted content for the first time, what should be their first step? Do they need to think about content ideas? Do they need to write stuff down? Do they just need to film themselves doing whatever it is?
First step, man, would just be, 3 things. Number 1, start with the end in mind. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, man, with this brand? What do you want to do? What's the dream? Start with the magic wand. If it all worked out, if it all aligned, no mishaps, if it all worked out, what would you be doing? Number 1. Number 2, what are some content things you've always wanted to do? You just didn't have the confidence to. What do you want to do? Like, I've always wanted to do like a cooking thing. Okay, cool. And then number 3, who are the people within your network or relationships or who you look at that you really admire their content? So you're starting with the end in mind. You're saying what you always wanted to do. And then you're saying, who have I always watched who I like? Man, I love that dude shit. Man, I love her stuff. That'll give you a good base of, okay, this is kind of where I want to go. Then the next steps would just be, film some stuff with the phone and then you post it and you try it out, you test it. Just get something up, and then you keep doing that and then be consistent with it. I would make it just be consistent for at least 30 days and see where you are after 30 days after posting that, and you go from there.
Who was that person for you?
Dude, so many. Like you said, with me being in so many different industries and people, I'm an admirer of so many people's stuff. I mean, nationally, of course, at a celebrity level, and also locally, regionally as well. So I can't think of many now, but like I love what Ryan Searhant does. His content, high-level New York guy. He was on Maynard Listing.
Yeah.
That guy's does really good stuff from a real estate perspective. I know he's a controversial guy, but I'm a huge, Kanye music guy and all that stuff, what he's done from music to fashion, becoming a multi-billionaire in that. And so my stuff's all over the place, dude. Like from agents to people to coaches. I'll just pull from all of it. I like that, But the one void I saw here was nobody is like featuring people.
Yeah.
Talking to people, whatever, on a scale that I would do it. And so, yeah.
So who's the one person you haven't gotten a chance to interview yet that is like, man, when I get that?
I've done a lot of sports and stuff, Ryan, but I love music. Music is like an undergoing thing. I played piano 9 or 10 years. So like that Papa Roach interview or the Coldplay thing, I love that. Like that's stuff I listened to growing up.
Yep.
So I would just love just to do like interview stuff. I don't know if it's Red Hot Chili Peppers or if it's any of these bands or artists. Like that would just be amazing to like jam out with them, or whatever. That's amazing. The sports ones are easy. I mean, what'd you think about Dirk? I just sit there like that's easy. Like,
did he dunk on you?
Right. That's why I didn't do sportscasting out of college. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do everything. But yeah, like something more like the Papa Roach thing or walking around looking at, like that would be cool.
Okay. What's next for David Paul?
What is next? So yeah, this year we've been bringing in a lot of people for the TV show, ABC Preview of Homes, which airs every Sunday out here on Channel 6. So of course doing that. We have April 6th. I'm going down to Arizona for the Final Four because the new Hall of Fame class is mentioned. So we got Vince Carter. Chauncey Billups will be doing interviews with those guys. And then the NFL draft is coming up. So I'll be down in Vegas with that, talking with those guys. And then, as I always say, the great thing about having a lot of relationships and moving into this is like anything can happen on any day.
Yeah.
And this to where you're out there now. You got content out there now. You got people know what you're doing now. You set yourself up to where, hey, today might be the day that Netflix calls. Today might be the day where a real estate TV show says, Ryan, can you do this? Today might be the day. And so I always leave space open for that too.
I love it, man. So David Paul?
Yes.
David Enterprises?
Yeah, www.dmacenterprises.com. If you Google the voice of Boise, you'll see all my stuff there. And Instagram, DMAC_1, DMAC_1. And yeah.
Guys, I can't emphasize this enough.
This is great.
David just gave a masterclass in personal branding and marketing.
Damn, I did. I got to sing. Yeah, you're going to charge for this.
Don't be scared, right? I get, just from my personal experience, like for years I had analysis paralysis, and that's my engineer brain too, like of needing everything to be calculated. And this personal branding stuff, it just doesn't work like that.
Man.
You just got to get yourself out there.
You just got to do it.
Yeah. Well, David, thanks for coming on the show, man. It was a great time.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
All right, man. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Yes. Boom.
That was awesome, dude.